Millions of people believe it, not fringe people, not people who haven't thought about it, educated people, curious people, people who have looked at the photographs of Gobekli Tepe, read about the Antikythera mechanism, studied the precision of the Giza Plateau, and found something that doesn't sit right with the official story. The belief is simple. We are not the first intelligent civilization on this planet. Today we are going to examine that claim the way it deserves to be examined. Not to mock it, not to dismiss it, but to find the one thing, the single scientific pillar, that would have to be wrong for it to be true. And then we are going to look at exactly how hard that pillar has been tested. What we found was not what we expected. Hard Truth Science, Episode 1, the one thing that would change everything. What people actually believe, not the straw man, the real argument. Let's be clear about what serious proponents of the prior civilization hypothesis actually argue. It is not aliens. It is not magic. It is something considerably more difficult to dismiss. The argument is this: the archaeological record has enormous gaps. We have evidence of anatomically modern humans going back 300,000 years. We have evidence of behaviorally modern humans, people who made art, used symbols, buried their dead, going back at least 70,000 years. And yet the earliest evidence of what we call civilization, cities, writing, organized agriculture, appears only around 5,000 to 6,000 years ago. That is a gap of 65,000 years of modern human behavior with apparently nothing to show for it. Gobekli Tepe, discovered in southern Turkey in 1994, is currently the oldest known megalithic structure on Earth. It dates to 11,600 years ago. It was built by people we had previously classified as hunter-gatherers. People who, according to the standard model, had not yet developed the social organization required to coordinate large construction projects, except they clearly had. The site contains 20 T-shaped stone pillars, some weighing up to 20 tons, decorated with sophisticated carved reliefs. The people who built it then deliberately buried it. We do not know why. The serious question is not whether ancient people were capable of surprising things. They clearly were. The serious question is, what else did they build that we haven't found yet? Here is the part of the argument that geologists find hardest to wave away. During the last glacial maximum, roughly 20,000 years ago, global sea levels were approximately 120 meters lower than they are today. The coastlines of every continent were dramatically different. Enormous areas of land that are now submerged were then exposed. If a civilization had developed in coastal areas during this period, and coastal areas are precisely where civilizations tend to develop, the physical evidence of that civilization would now be sitting under between 50 and 120 meters of ocean. We have conducted systematic archaeological surveys of perhaps 2% of the ocean floor. 2%. In 2017, a team of marine archaeologists discovered a submerged prehistoric landscape off the coast of the United Kingdom, in the area once known as Doggerland, containing what appeared to be organized structures dating to before the flooding of the North Sea. The investigation is ongoing. The funding is limited. The absence of evidence argument, the standard response to prior civilization claims, assumes we have looked, we have barely started. The hard truth, the single scientific pillar blocking the theory. Here is the scientific pillar. Every human being alive on Earth today is, genetically speaking, remarkably similar. The genetic diversity within our species is lower than that of most other great apes. Chimpanzee populations in a single forest in West Africa show more genetic variation than the entire 8 billion of us. The reason for this is what geneticists call a population bottleneck. Approximately 70,000 years ago, the human population appears to have crashed to somewhere between 1,000 and 10,000 breeding individuals. We came extremely close to extinction. This is established, peer-reviewed science. It is not contested in any serious way. Here is why it matters for the prior civilization question. If an intelligent civilization had existed on Earth for any significant period before this bottleneck, they were human. And if they were human, they would be in our DNA. The bottleneck didn't erase prior DNA. It compressed it. Every lineage that passed through that bottleneck left a trace in the modern human genome. Geneticists have now sequenced ancient human DNA going back 300,000 years, and it does not contain the signature of a prior civilization. That is the hard truth, not the absence of ruins, the absence of us. The bottleneck almost certainly has a cause, and that cause is almost certainly Mount Toba. Approximately 74,000 years ago, a supervolcanic eruption in what is now Sumatra produced the largest volcanic event in the last 2 million years. The Toba eruption ejected approximately 2,800 cubic kilometers of material into the atmosphere. The Toba event triggered what researchers call a volcanic winter, a period of dramatically reduced sunlight and temperature lasting an estimated 6 to 10 years. The population crash in the human fossil and genetic record aligns closely with this event. This is where the prior civilization argument faces its hardest challenge. If an intelligent civilization existed before Toba, any physical trace of it would have been subjected to the most thorough geological resurfacing event in recent Earth history. Ash layers, temperature collapse, ecosystem failure. The argument that evidence could not survive is not unreasonable. It is also unfalsifiable in the way that makes scientists uncomfortable. We cannot prove the absence of something that may have been destroyed, and that is precisely where the anomaly lives. The examination. What happened when researchers pushed on the hard truth? In September of 2023, a team of researchers published a paper in the journal Science that complicated the bottleneck story significantly. Using a new computational method called fit-coal, the team found evidence of a second, much older bottleneck, one that began approximately 930,000 years ago and lasted for roughly 117,000 years. During this period, the ancestral human population dropped to fewer than 1,280 breeding individuals. This finding is contested. Other researchers have questioned the methodology. The debate in the literature is ongoing and has not been resolved. But here is what is significant. The newer research pushes the story of human near extinction much further back, into a period before Homo sapiens, before modern human cognition as we understand it. It raises a question that genetic evidence alone cannot answer. If the human lineage has survived multiple catastrophic near extinctions, what happened in between? In 2022, Graham Hancock's Netflix series Ancient Apocalypse became the most watched documentary series on the platform in its debut week. The archaeological establishment responded with criticism, some of it valid, some of it unusually heated. Flinders University archaeologist Flint Dibble, who debated Hancock publicly in 2023, argued that the standard model is not based on absence of evidence. It is based on the totality of evidence we have, which consistently fails to show the signatures a prior civilization would leave. Not just ruins, chemical signatures in soil layers, isotopic anomalies in ice cores, the fingerprints of agriculture, of fire management, of metallurgy, none of which appear before the accepted dates. And then Dibble said something scientists rarely say in public. He specified exactly what evidence would change his mind. A pre-12,000-year-old site with clear evidence of writing, metallurgy, or agriculture, found in situ, dated by multiple independent methods. He did not say nothing could change his mind. He said, here is exactly what would. And then there is the younger Dryas impact hypothesis. In 2007, a team of researchers published evidence for a cosmic impact event approximately 12,800 years ago. The proposed impact triggered a rapid cooling event and may have disrupted early human populations in North America. The hypothesis is not fringe science. It has been published in peer-reviewed journals including Nature, supported by independent teams on multiple continents, and has survived repeated attempts at falsification. A 2023 study found elevated platinum anomalies consistent with the hypothesis at sites across North America, South America, Europe, and the Middle East, all at the same stratigraphic horizon, all dating to the same moment. If the younger Dryas impact is confirmed at scale, It represents a global catastrophic event at precisely the moment when a prior civilization would have been erased. The coincidence of timing is either meaningful or it is not. The science has not yet decided. The honest conclusion. Let us be precise about where we stand. The genetic evidence is real and it is strong. Every human alive carries a genome that has been analyzed in extraordinary detail, and that genome does not contain the signature of a separate, previously unknown intelligent lineage. That is a meaningful constraint on what a prior civilization could have been. At the same time, the archaeological survey of the planet is genuinely incomplete. The ocean floor, the deep coastal shelves, the buried landscapes under ice sheets and sediment, these are not searched. The 2% figure is not a rhetorical flourish. It is the honest accounting of what underwater archaeology has actually examined. The younger Dryas impact hypothesis sits in the literature, contested but not dismissed. It has not been falsified. It has not been confirmed. Those three things can all be true simultaneously. The standard model can be correct in every detail we have confirmed and still be incomplete in ways we have not yet examined. That is not a failure of science. That is science working as it is supposed to. So here is the answer to the question we started with. What is the one thing that would change everything? A single site, pre-12,000 years old, found in situ, not displaced by water or geological movement, containing clear, unambiguous evidence of writing or metallurgy or deliberately cultivated crops, dated by at least 3 independent methods. One site. That is all it would take. It has not been found. After more than 2 centuries of global archaeological investigation, not one site meeting that description has been confirmed, but Gobekli Tepe was not found until 1994. The submerged Doggerland structures were not found until 2017. The oldest known cave art was revised upward twice in the last decade alone. The record is not closed, it is being written. We know what we have found. We do not yet know what we haven't. Hard Truth Science, the examination is still open. Follow us on YouTube at Hard Truth Science.